Contrast uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 4, episode 6. Man, big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. It's your host, Zylo, aka DJ Juan Dollars, like I won some money. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a really incredibly dope special guest. You know, he's from the Queens, New York, by the way of Atlanta, and to his new home in Hollywood. You know, he's the vice president of A&R, that's Artists and Relations, at Capitol Records. Having an in-depth and hands-on experience with almost 15 years in the game, he's made his stamp on this industry for recognizing talent and bridging the gap between the business and the music being made. This brother was connecting dots and making Picasso paintings with his actions, working with, Empire in its early days, Jermaine Dupri, and So Def Publishing, to Mace, and early days of just falling in love with music, to managing No ID, which is huge, as you know, the resurgence of how everything worked itself back out with Capitol and Priority Records in 2017. And this brother continues to level up on each opportunity. And if you don't know who I'm talking about by now, it's all good. We got all episode to chop it up with Serge Durand. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, my brother. That was a really good intro, man.
Thank you. You know, you make history a little bit easier to access when, you got all these publications putting stuff out there,
Right.
But I gotta let you know, brother, time's the most finite thing we have on this earth. So I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate your time, fucking with me, fucking with the viewers and the listeners. Thank you.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I enjoy just talking to people and just putting the information out there, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of people they think as far as the music business, I think a lot of people they understand the music part, but they forget about the business part. So I love just putting that information out there and just educate people, because education, man, it's in this business, it's a fine line of where you can be broke or rich, you know what I'm saying, and it's all because of education. So I'd rather just put it out there for free, and hopefully it reaches the right people.
Come on, knowledge is power, but when you use that knowledge, superpower. And in every situation where that knowledge is key, you can level up. And I'm grateful for brothers like you that are transparent and willing to open up some little bit of the cheat codes that, as the youngsters like to say, on how to just get a little bit more further in what they're doing if they already seen a little bit of success.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, Serge, brother, what's a normal 24 hours for you? For those that don't know what it takes to do the type of things that you do, what is a normal 24?
A normal 24 has changed, right? Because it used to be wake up, go to the gym, and then head to the office. And then at the office, it's phone calls, emails, meetings, staff meetings, A&R meetings, marketing meetings. And then after that, it's actually no idea calling me right now. But then after that, it would be like shows, right? So after you leave the office, it would be either going to see an artist perform or studio sessions, right? But now, since March, that has totally changed. So it's now, wake up, go on my walk, gym, come back to the house, and basically, instead of being in the office having those meetings, we're on Zoom, like how me and you are now, so every day, there's a different, it's basically the same thing, except that I'm just working from home. And all of those meetings that we would have in the office, we're just having on Zoom now. And basically, I just had to get my house together to basically make it as comfortable as far as feeling like an office space, so I could sit down and just get my work done and stuff like that. So that's totally changed. Obviously, I'm not going to shows after 5 or whatever. So yeah, it's just a lot of just you know, just at home, you know. I just came back from Atlanta, like last week. I went down there, and the reason why I was down there for like a month was because like it felt like life before COVID happened. It's wide open down there. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, so I'm actually thinking about actually just going back and actually working from Atlanta because my mom lives down there. So I'll be close to that. Yeah. But yeah, the regular 24, that's basically what it looks like. Gym first, then basically office, phone calls, emails, research, a lot of research. I think that's what I learned like after COVID, like during COVID, like this whole time now is researching. So I was able to dive into TikTok a lot, and just, you know, YouTube, and basically as an A&R, like my job is to find what the next hot thing is. So what I use this time for is how to tap in, because I'm not a 15-year-old, right? I'm not a 16-year-old. I'm not a teenager. So I had to use this time to tap in to how does a teenager discover new music, right? And that, you know, I interviewed a lot of teenagers and asked them questions or whatever. And I basically used this time to kind of like dive in. And basically every day that I wake up, I'm trying to figure out, like, I use those same ways that they, you know, that they use to discover music every day. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's SoundCloud, whether it's TikTok. So that's what I use this time for.
You know, as you're dropping gems, I want to go ahead and just add in an assertion on a gem that you put out there. You know, one of the biggest demographics that should be hidden and, you know, trying to curtail your music to is the 15 to 19-year-old crowd. That crowd right there is the most growing crowd that there is. And there's still, you know, other people's money being spent for their products, their streams, what they love. And so, you know, everyone that is watching, I'm going to drop the first gem from his alley-oop, 15 to 19-year-olds. You know, that is a great market to really put an emphasis on, you know, where to get your fans from, because they will make a difference in your living as they grow and you grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I do also want to plug in, if you ain't noticed, this brother works 12 to 16, sometimes 18 hours a day, just from start to finish, just so that he can be in every dynamic, so that he can have his little sauce in every bit of everyone's gumbo pot as their day progresses. Whether it's from A&R meetings to research to marketing meetings to studios to shows, this brother could be out till 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and have to get his day back started by 6. Like,
definitely. But you know what's dope about it, bro? It doesn't feel like work. You get what I'm saying? Like that's really what it doesn't feel like work, because it's a lifestyle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I would have did this for free. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so when a lot of people ask about, like, you know, yo, how do you get in the music industry? It's like, you gotta live it. You gotta live it, and you gotta love the music first. Because honestly, bro, there are a lot of people that work in the music industry and they don't even love music. They just in it because it's just a job. Like, it doesn't feel like work to me. Like, so those 18-hour days, I enjoy it. I enjoy going to watch somebody perform. Like, I enjoy being in the studio. You get what I'm saying? So that's the key, is having the passion for music first.
See, passion, and when you can make your passion a purpose, and the purpose will create financial gains. But in that time, when your purpose kicks in, that's talking about doing something for free. He said, I will do this for free without even anyone putting any pressure to him. There ain't no one on either side trying to offer him something. He getting there straight to the point. That's how much passion and purpose comes into what you do, and then the results. That genuineness builds and builds, and we create such greater people on this earth and what they put out content-wise, and also in the reflection on how our music sounds.
Definitely. Totally agree, bro.
Serge, brother, I love the studios. I love going to shows. That's been like one of my biggest passion things, seeing how people can put their art on display. You know, that's been like my biggest thing. One of the recent things, I went to like Camp Flognog last year, and I've never seen Beyonce's sisters perform. And when I seen, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name, but she left an impression on me that blew me away. Yes. Solange performed, and she closed out the Saturday night. She was a closeout, the headline, and she delivered on bigger than I felt Drake did the next night. And, you know, I'm not trying to knock Drake, but I'm just saying how she put the impression and that energy on that stage. She had a full musical, but it was still a show. It was still it was still sex appeal. It was still just her, just everything in there. And you can just be embodied by the spirit of what she's trying to get off. And so, like, when you talk about those things being missing, I most definitely hurt inside because Bobby D presents the show and he does hella shows, and that's a big blessing to be in those environments as well.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Like what was dope about it is seeing the different crowds and understanding like the different demographics, right? Like, cause you have like, you know, Rolling Loud, right? Like that's one crowd. Then you have like the hood. You get what I'm saying? Like the hood for certain artists, right? And then you just have like this like alternative, like where you don't really know what they are, but they just anti whatever's cool type of crowd. Like you get what I'm saying? Like so, it's just that's what I enjoy. Just seeing how the people react to these different songs and stuff like that. Because sometimes like you can hear a record and you like, and it might be streaming really really well, and you like I don't understand it, but then it's when you go to the show you understand it because like you know you're watching these people receive these lyrics and you know and regurgitate whatever the lyrics are, man. And yeah, man, so that's why shows are important.
Absolutely, because that fills in the gap, just like you said. Because a lot of time I catch myself listening to what's hot myself personally and try to understand why is this wave or why does this have these millions of views? What makes this body of work become this mass and weigh this much? It started off with one and became a million, and or 10 million, 20 million. So I always like to look into why. And you're absolutely right. The shows will give you that answer because it will reach the relationship of that crowd, and it's like, oh, I mean, I've learned shit growing up, like, doing the mosh pits and stuff was like, alternative rock, you see 311 or you see it like, I didn't go to too many rock concerts, but when you see like the mixture of the smoke out shows and stuff, you see a mosh pit. Now you go to an event, mosh pits are everywhere. It's a hype. And it's like that energy is something that you have to just, get infected by because that's really the wave.
Definitely, man. Yeah, no, I love it, bro. Like I love all of the different types of scenes that's in hip hop specifically, you know, because like you said, like in hip hop you have like those mosh pit scenes, and like I said, you have the hood, and then you have the anti people who are anti everything that people deem as cool, you know.
So Serge, brother, I got a quote. Let me know how this quote relates to you, or if it doesn't, ideas, I just want you to talk about it. Are you ready? Do what you love. You'll be better at it. It sounds pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how many people don't get this one right away. LL Cool J.
Yeah, I actually kind of touched on that earlier when I was just like, you know, like you gotta have a passion for music, right? Like because like it does it like when I would get up, like the only thing that feels like it's work is working out for me. Like it's just like, you know, I have to force myself to get up and work out, right? But after that, like, you know, get home, take a shower, and you know, I want to get to the office or just, you know, like with being home, just, you know, get to whatever meeting it is to talk about, you know, those marketing plans. And you know, and as an A&R, like you oversee like an artist that's talented and basically overseeing their musical career. Like it's dope, like being part of that, like, you know, watching artists go from, you know, fairly new artists to artists that's known, and just like that process and enjoying that process, like that process and that development stage. Like I think that's the most fun part, you know, and just being part of that, like, you know, like it's something, like I said, that I enjoy. Like, you know, obviously, you know, everything has its pros and cons. You're gonna have BS, whether it's negotiations with producers and writers and attorneys, like, you know, all of that, like, you know, it's part of it. But at the end of the day, man, it's just about getting the music out there and, you know, just making a difference, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, you knocked that one out the park. Talking about the entertainment industry, music game, did the game choose you or did you choose the game?
I think the game actually chose me, right? Because I went to school when I went to school in Atlanta. I went to school. I was in school for like computer science, right? So I didn't even know what an A&R was, but just so happened when I moved to Atlanta to go to school, the rapper Mace had retired from music, and he was attending the same school that I was attending. And me and him were the only guys from New York on the basketball team. I played basketball, and like we just clicked because we were both from New York. And but at the time he wasn't rapping. Like he had quit rap to pursue his church career as a preacher. And when he decided to come back to rap in 2004, he just called on me to be his assistant. And I started running with him, and I fell in love with the music business. And my love for A&R would come because he would be in the studio all the time, and he would run out of beats. So, you know, I knew a few producers, and I started going out there like, hey, I need beats for Mace. And I fell in love with the process of being able to find a beat, give it to him, and watch him record over it and turn nothing to something, you know. And that's where my love for A&R came. And I'm like, oh, you can, like, this is a job, like you can get paid for this, like, to like finding beats and and you know, and that's where everything started, and just one thing led to another. And here I am.
So would you consider, you know, back going to Clark Atlanta and then '04 Mace hitting you, that was like pretty much your first confirmation that music's what you're supposed to do? Or would you consider, you know, when running into Jermaine Dupri with Mace and that connection building, you know, or was that your first confirmation? Or what part in the game, you know, would you be like, this is what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life?
I think it was running with Maze, but before that, like, just to let you know about my passion for music, right? Like in high school in New York, mixtapes like was a thing, right? Like mixtapes were huge in New York, right? And so my mom would give me like $10 a day, you know, to like for food and stuff like that, you know, to buy lunch, stuff like that. And I found myself, man, like saving my money to buy the latest DJ Clue mixtape or the DJ Envy or, you know, whoever like the mixtape people was. And like that's when I knew. I was like let's say DJ Clue dropped a mixtape, I had to have it, right? So like I said, I would use my food money I was supposed to be buying for lunch and dinner from my mom to go buy mixtapes. And then when I ended up moving to Atlanta, I actually built a mixtape stand because I felt like mixtapes were missing in Atlanta. So on the campus, we had this thing called the Strip. And it was just like, you know, it was like a lot of traffic on there. And there was a barbershop that was real popular on the campus and on that strip. And basically I set up a mixtape stand and basically I was selling mixtapes. So I was your college bootlegger, you know, on the campus, but I made a lot of money. You know, made a lot of money selling mixtapes. But so my passion, so I'll say all that to say is my passion for music and like just, it was always there, you know. But running with Mace when I found out that, oh, like you can get paid for like being like an A&R. And, you know, I didn't, you know, like YouTube wasn't like how it is now, all the information. So when I found out that you can actually get paid for these kind of jobs, I was like, oh, wow. Like I said, I would have did it for free. You know what I'm saying? So when I found out you get paid for it, I just kept going, you know?
No, it's dope that you recognize something that you desire, that you would sacrifice lunch and dinner money for to go cop the mixtape and go on a journey to cop the mixtape. It ain't like they outside your house or in front of your school. And they're not in front of a barbershop that's conveniently posted in front of a whole bunch of traffic. Like being on an alleyway and by a Staples Center or, you know, by like the Barclays, you know, you put it to that dynamics at the university. That's understanding your passion and finding a way to get to the money no matter what.
Definitely.
Speaking of Clark Atlanta, so I had Don Cannon on the show and he talked about how him and DJ Drama was able to come from Philly and pretty much infect Atlanta with, you know, their hustle and drive. And, you know, when I did my research on you, I was like, this brother came in at that same time.
Those are my brothers. Those are my brothers right there. It's a lot of us, by the way. It's a lot of us in that, like that year, that 99 to 2004 or 5. Like it's me, Don Cannon, DJ Drama, DJ Sense, Walter Jones, who's the president of A&R over at Universal Publishing, Dallas Martin, who signed Roddy Ricch and Meek Mill, and, you know, Nip, you know, rest in peace, Nip. Stephen Victor, Pop Smoke. Like it's a lot of us. My man Lake Show, who manages Little Uzi, who has Jack Harlow now. He manages Drama, but he's part of that whole generation now. It's a lot of us, bro, that came out of Atlanta that year. We all came from different cities, but we all, you know, so it was a time. Because what was dope about Atlanta during that time, me moving from New York was the epicenter of hip hop at the time. So when I moved down there in 99 to go to school, I lived and witnessed the South takeover. So did they. Drama and Cannon, they coming from Philly, like, you know, still East Coast, right? East Coast were running it. So same thing, like, you know, Drama was one of the reasons why, like, you know, with the South takeover. So that's what it was like for us. Like, we lived and we watched it and we were part of the South takeover, you know?
No, that's amazing to beat
Yeah.
it and have your own way of, like, you know, pretty much adding your own stamp of how history transitions. Now, I love that because so many different people made Atlanta the hub, and it took a village of different regions to make it that. And you know, it's a blessing because now there's so many beautiful things coming out of Atlanta that just, you know, if that spotlight wasn't there, we wouldn't have all this talent that we are, you know, as fans we love.
Yeah, definitely, man. No, I love that city, man. It's a special place in my heart for the city of Atlanta. Definitely made you.
I tell you this though, I can't do the South in the summer, bruh. Taking 3-4 showers in a day,
Yeah. But I go front though, like, bro, it's 100 degrees out here right now, bro.
it's dry heat though.
Yeah, it is dry heat, like, you know, but like I said, it was hot down there too. It's a different kind of hot, but bro, like, it's hot down here, like, you know what I mean, out here, like, you know, like, I'm like, bro, I got in my car yesterday, it was 104 degrees.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
In all fairness, you know, you a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Pacific Ocean, so.
Yeah, definitely. That, you know, that's what I love about like living on the West Coast and living in LA is that there's so many different vibes, right? When you got the Malibu vibe, like if you want to take an hour drive, head out to Laguna, you got the hills, like, you know what I mean? You have Hollywood, you have downtown. So that's what I love about it. There's so many different vibes. It's not like one thing, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I love it. I'm from LA, and you know, it's definitely a proud moment. But speaking about your journey, manifest and prayer, you know, goes a long way. Hard work with a real determination to make a dream a reality. You know,
Yes.
what can you tell the listeners on your journey of your manifestations to, you know, go from pretty much buying mixtapes to selling them, to being a part of history, to now you in Hollywood? You know, it's a blessing.
Yeah. All right, so look, all right. So I'm gonna tell it to you like this. Like, you gotta see it. You gotta have the vision first, right? And okay, how do you get the vision? So I'm gonna tell you how I got the vision by watching interviews. Like I said, it's so many interviews readily. So whether it's Jim Iovine interviews, Steve Stout, Leor Cohen, Dame Dash, Irv Gotti, just anyone that's like that's done a lot. Like there are interviews there for, like, you know, like BT just had a thing with the Rough Rider Chronicles and Master P. Like, watch those things, right? Because and whatever it is that you want to do, right? Like, I eventually want to be a CEO of, you know, my own record label one day, right? So I watch those things. But if it's a producer, you know, if you want to be a producer, then you watch interviews from, you know, some of the best that did it, right? So whether it's the Dr. Dre's, the Kanye West, like, you know, like who, you know, RZA, like whoever, like your top producers, watch those interviews, and that way that'll help you be able to get your vision, because in listening to them tell you about their story, you get your vision, and then once you have the vision of where you want to be, and you could actually, and it's vivid, then when you wake up every day, you like for me as an A&R, right? Like, and I actually got this from watching the Leor Cohen interview, and he says his daily affirmation in the morning is today is going to be the day that I meet the artist that's going to change the landscape of music, right? So I took that, and that's what I tell myself every day. Today is going to be the day that I wake up and I'm going to discover the artist that changes the landscape of music, right? So, but that came from me watching interviews, right? And so as an A&R or a CEO or whatever it is, like, that's what you want to, you know, discover, because an artist changes everything. Even as a, you know, even if you're a producer, you linking up with that artist, right? Because you can make beats all you want, but someone has to rap to these beats, right? So, so that's my daily affirmation every day as an A&R is, you know, today is going to be the day that I wake up and discover the artist that's going to change the landscape of music. So it's extremely important to have that vision, because that vision, when you don't have that vision, it's just like a day-to-day thing. Like, you don't know what you're working towards. But, like, you know, like with me, we're working out, right? Like, I have a picture of what I want to look like, right? So every day I go in the gym, I'm working. And then I go in the mirror and I could, like, look at the vision of what I want to look like and ask myself, am I getting closer? So it's the same with career-wise. Like, who is it or what is it that you want to work towards, and then so when you're waking up every day, like you can start checking off, okay, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. So it's extremely important to have that vision and those affirmations and prayer every day to to get to that whatever that goal is.
Yeah, no, you definitely create a mental checkbox in your head along the way. And if you're not checking off, small goals, short-term goals along the way to the long-term goal, then you need to keep on going back to the drawing board to see how could I make this click a little bit more better, and then
Right.
you'll continue to grow into it. And speaking on the journey to success, you have really shown you can make it out of any obstacle in front of you by recognizing your gifts. Who do we owe to thank you for investing into your dreams?
Man, my mom, definitely my mom, my number one supporter right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just from, anything that I needed, she was always there, like, you know what I'm saying, to support that. So it starts with her. But then like all of the people that I felt like, just gave me a shot, obviously Mace, it started with him, right? Because he gave me the opportunity to even learn what the music industry even looks like, you know what I'm saying? So it started, so I would say Mace, then No ID, then Jermaine Dupri, then Mike Karen, then Waka's mom, Deborah Anthony, because she taught me a lot. Like she taught me a lot, So and she taught me everything just from an independent label owners, like who like just whatever she believed in, she just went after it. Like she didn't care. Like she just went after it. So Deborah Anthony, and then after Deborah Anthony, it was Ghazi, who was the CEO of Empire, and then the Capitol staff. So everyone from Steve Barnett to No ID once again, and then Jacqueline Saturn, who is the president of Caroline. So like those would be people that I felt like I learned a lot from. They believed in me. They constantly there for me, to teach me, and like if I have any questions on anything, they're just there and available, and they support. They're just here to constantly support anything that I'm doing. So yeah, those are.
You can definitely tell that you put a strong value on relationships, and relationships will get you places money cannot. And
Right.
you can definitely, from what you just said about the thank you, the relationships is something that's high up there, and a lot of people just don't understand that moving forward because they want to be hot-headed, or they want to be in their pride, or they just don't understand the bigger picture. So what can you tell everyone relationships mean to you and throughout your career?
Right. Like, I mean, relationships is everything. Because like, that chance meeting that I had with No ID 12 years ago, yeah, about 12 years ago, came back. Like, so I met him in 2008, and I was managing him. And then when he went on to work with Kanye West uh, on the 808s and Heartbreak album, like, me and him lost touch. And then years later, he came back when he knew I was working at Empire. He came back in 2016, and basically he was the one that asked me to come join the Capitol team. So he set up the interview with Steve Barnett, who's the chairman of Capitol, and it was history from there. But like I said, it was me and him always kept just great rapport with each other and stuff like that. But yeah, relationships are everything. I think where a lot of people like mess up in the music business, like the aspiring people, they feel like people are on their time. And this is the slowest, like when it comes to opportunities, this is the slowest drawn out business ever. So patience is a thing, like, so I tell people, man, like, if you're trying to get in this, don't quit whatever that day job is, don't quit that. Like from an executive level, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to prove you're just good at, like, you're great at something that's better than, whatever like the people in the buildings are already doing. Like, you know what I mean? So if you aspire to be in marketing, what dope ideas, do you have for marketing? If you aspire to be in A&Rs, this is the main thing. All companies have research like teams like available. So like, what is it that you can bring that A&R staff at any label doesn't have already? So is it like, that Is it a producers? Is it songwriters? Like, you know, like do you have a certain way to discover artists that like these labels don't? Like, it just has to be something there that they don't already have. And with analytics being a thing, like, you know, it's a little harder, like, to kind of prove that. But once again, you build those relationships. Like for example, if there was an A&R that was trying to be, if there was an aspiring A&R and he was trying to build with me, it would be, yo, just constantly trying to send me things and send me things and send me things and send me things. And that's how you just build that relationship, like, you know. Yeah, so it's extremely important. To me, it's like 90% of how to be able to move, like whether you're a producer, whether, you know, executive, songwriter, it's all based on relationships, because those relationships lead to opportunities.
Absolutely. Personally, myself, bro, like I started this show like pretty much back in December 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, going into it, I ended up meeting with my brother's best friend, which was Marvin Gaye III. He gives me a job as his personal assistant. And he gives me like one opportunity to go to a studio session with him and meet, you know, Justin Bieber's people, because it's at West Coast Custom Studio. And so we're there, and make a long story short, that's all pretty much we got to do. A couple more meetings, and then COVID hit. I kept doing this show. And then from the show, you know, I had already relationships with a couple of producers that have done significant things, and I continued to build. And so, like, as you're talking about A&Rs and asserting yourself, I was like, you know what, I feel like I should talk a little bit about myself. Right. And, you know, from that moment, because if I ain't gonna lie, opportunities are as rare as finding money on the ground. And how often do we find money on the ground?
Right.
And so being patient is everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, as you are disclaiming everything, I was just like, you know what, I will tell you a little bit about. And then from the show, I was able to meet Bobby D for an interview. And then he got behind the show basically on organicness and, you know, psychedelicness of just genuine passion for people's careers and how they maneuvered. And then I continued to grow, and here we are today. Snoop Dogg got behind the show, and then, you know, we're continuing to grow. That's dope. You know, biggest thing for me is that I like to have people that are afraid of success know that, you know, if you are afraid of success and you do have gifts, there's people out there that have made it with less than what you have. And they continue to strive, and they take that, you know, striving from surviving to striving to, you know, enjoying life and well off, and, you know, in that mind frame. And so I just, you know, when you was talking about all that, I was like, you know what, I got to spit this out, because
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You know, the importance of rehearsal. You know, you're having these big moments. You're about to sit down and meet, and you know, capital opportunity was, and here you go, interview. You had to, you know, be prepared to translate that energy, what you're trying to put across, those analytics of numbers that don't lie, to translate your success.
Right. And like, you know, I'm not me per se. I'm not like an A&R that's more like research based, right? Like, meaning like I do research, but like the people that really do research, like they dive in, like to where it almost feels stock market-ish. Right, like that's how they view it. I'm not that guy. I do research, but I'm more a culture guy, right? Like I'm more like I'm in the loops, like, you know what I'm saying. So if there's a producer crew doing anything over there, I'm rocking with them. Like, you know, if like these guys are doing their thing over here, like I'm just in the loops, like, you know what I'm saying. I know the attorneys, I know the artists personally, hang out with them, like, you know what I mean. So I'm more of that type of A&R. I'm just like in the loop. And, you know, I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not too many people that I can't reach out to, because if I don't know them, I know someone like that does. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I feel like there are three types of A&Rs. You have your Rolodex A&R, which is like an A&R who just has all of those relationships with people. He can get anybody on the line. You need a feature from such and such. He can, you know, figure it out. Like, so you have a Rolodex A&R. You have a research A&R. Research A&R is like the guys I'm talking about, where they could really dig in and they could tell you, hey, this guy's YouTube views went up 50% this week. You know, his socials went up this, right? Like, because they released this record, So you have the research A&Rs, and then you have the creative A&Rs. Then creative A&Rs is guys that's in the studio. They're setting up sessions with the, you know, producers, songwriters, and they're trying to get the best records and put together a great album. I kind of find myself as like being like all three, probably less research, because like I said, like the guys that really do that, they do it. Like I'll dive in like how they dive in, but I definitely, do my research also. And I think in order to be in great A&R, you have to be like all three or somehow. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to have your Rolodex. And the other thing, you got to be a closer. You got to be able to be a closer. That's the other thing. So personality. So I feel like I'm that guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that guy. Like, you have to be, because at the end of the day, like, when you want to sign something, you got to be able to go and, are you likable? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have personality? You know what I mean? Sometimes that wins it, because the artist, when it's an artist that every label is trying to sign, like, dude, they're meeting with like 4 different labels in one day. So the only thing that they're going to remember is like, because everyone's telling them the same thing. Hey, we're going to make you a global superstar. Everything's global, global, global. So it's going to start sounding like, so at the end of the day, what they're going to leave out of it from when the management or attorney asks them, who did you feel best about? It's going to be the person he clicked with. So, so that, that can work sometimes, or sometimes it's about who got the biggest bag, right? Most of the time it's probably about that, but sometimes personality and being able to close could win them over also.
Whew, dropping gems.
Yeah.
Whew. Coming from Capitol Records, being the home of, the Beatles, Queen Nijia, Little Baby, City Girls, Eagles, Erykah Badu, jazz sensation Gregory Porter, Marshmello, Migos, just to name a few.
Yes.
To work
all
with.
over, right? It's all over the place. Yeah, it's dope, man. It's a lot of stuff in that building. It's a lot of stuff in that building.
Yeah, from Motown to Caroline Records, it's a conglomerate at Capitol. What is the current goal and strategy for you going into 2021?
Man, to just get like same thing, like just to keep like find that artist, because I work for Caroline specifically, right? I work for Capitol Music Group, but and just to kind of break it down to you, Capitol Music Group, like under Capitol Music Group, Motown, Astroworks, which is a dance label, under Capitol, with the biggest dance label. Capitol Records is under Capitol Music Group. So I specifically work with Caroline, which is a distribution arm of of Capitol, and 10K projects is part of that, and a few other labels. And basically, what's dope about it is like you see kind of like everything that Kanye is kind of saying or whatever. Like what's dope about what I do is that like the 80-20, like with us, like our deals are 80-20, right? Where the label or the artist gets the 80, and then we get the 20% for the distribution and services or whatever. And what I like about like what's happening is that that like people are talking about it and they're talking about what's happening. But when I'm having these meetings, I tell like these artists, like, hey, like over here, you get, keep your masters, and this. And then, they go to other labels and take the bigger bag. And then like those same artists sometimes come back like, man, like I should have stayed with you. So I'm happy like that messaging is getting out there where people are educating themselves on what those deals actually look like. But I feel like with Caroline, we're actually on the right side of that, right? Because like I said, like they're getting 80, we're getting like 20%, and they're keeping the masters and everything. And so I think with the conversations that's happening and the narrative that's happening, like whether it's on just Twitter or whatever, on socials, me having that conversation with artists now, like they're more prone to listen, and not more so thinking about, yo, I don't care about none of what you're saying, how much I offer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some of them still keep that stance, but so I think my goal for 2021 is just to keep that messaging out there and just to let people know, like, yo, we on the right side of this. You know what I'm saying? Because what I don't want is them feeling like, thinking we're all the same. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're on the right side of, And then honestly though, bro, there's no right or wrong side, because no one's putting a gun to your head and telling you like, hey, you take this deal. Like, you know what I mean? Most of them just care about the huge advance anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing about the music business, bro, like nothing is like, you don't get what's fair. You get what you negotiate. You get what I'm saying? So like, so no one's putting a gun to your head and saying, oh, you have to sign this. Like, it's just like, yo, like if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But there's so many other options out here,
You put a lot of value into people's work. You put a lot of value into making them understand the whole bigger picture of masters and you know what you can do moving forward. Perpetuity is a beautiful thing if you can keep it as long as you can.
Right. But you, honestly though, bro, like some artists don't even they don't have the vision to see how big that they can be. So to them, when you start talking masters and splits and stuff like that, they don't even envision themselves being bigger than whatever it is the song. Like if we're meeting with them because there's a certain song that's popping or whatever. So sometimes with them, like they don't care too much about none of that stuff. Because they just like, yo, like how much they gonna put in my pocket when I sign? Like, you know what I mean? That's what they care about. Like, but the artists that really envision and see where they're gonna be in 5 years, like whether they feel like, yo, I'm gonna be a platinum artist in 5 years, those are the ones that feel like, hey, okay, these are the things that's important to me. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I feel like there is no right or wrong. Like at the end of the day, you get what you negotiate.
What would you be doing if you weren't in the entertainment industry?
Man, what would I be doing if I wasn't in the entertainment industry? Dude, probably sitting at a computer somewhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Sitting at a computer somewhere, dude, working for IBM or, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I went to school for. But honestly, though, bro, I would have probably been a party promoter because I was a party promoter in college, and yeah, I would have probably been a party promoter because I was throwing parties in college, and if it wasn't that, I would have probably went full time with that, you know, and I probably would have been popping right now as a party promoter.
I believe it, bro. Shit.
Yeah.
You in Hollywood. I used to party promote back in the day, 05, 06, 07 out there in Hollywood. Shout out to Johnny Cruz. But no, it's a money market. It's a beautiful thing to see everybody partying and enjoying and knowing you put that thing together from top to end.
Definitely.
Man, I'd like to dig into some of your highs and lows you faced throughout your career that you're willing to discuss.
My highs and lows. My highs and lows. Yeah, honestly, bro, like everything's kind of like I don't think I've actually had like a high and a low. I feel like everything kind of like been like cruise control, right? I think my biggest low was missing out on signing an artist, Future. So I was like one of the first guys to try to sign Future, and at the time, the label that I worked for didn't see it. You get what I'm saying? And like I felt like that was just a missed opportunity. I don't look at that as like a low, but I felt like that was like a missed opportunity of trying to sign like someone that I really believed in. And my boss at the time didn't see it, but I felt like that was probably one of the missed opportunities because he's a career-long artist. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I seen him like before, because he loved being in the studio. He really enjoyed writing, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's what he wanted to do. So I was like, okay, this guy's gonna be around. Like he's not treating this like a hustle, you know? So I think that the missed opportunity of signing him because somebody else didn't believe. And high, what would be a high? Man, honestly, bro, I think just getting this situation with Capital, right? Because I'm telling you an interesting story. I was this type of aspiring executive. Like every music conference, wherever it was at, like I would be there, right? And I would be there for networking purposes, to learn, obviously. And so whether it was like, I remember Shop Money used to do this one-stop shop producer thing in Phoenix. I was always there. I ended up being on a panel one time because I used to work for Atlantic. It used to be one in South Carolina. Like, so every music conference, like I would go there, right? And then for the last 10 years, whenever BT Awards weekends and Grammy Awards, like I was always coming here to LA from Atlanta. Like, you know what I mean? I would just pay my way. And like I said, I was just at all the networking events. So ASCAP would have an event, I was there. BMI would have an event, I was there. And because I knew like those were the places that all of the executives were at, and you know, you out of sight, you out of mind. So I, you know, like, and if it was a time where I didn't have a gig at the time, I was just networking with people and just letting them know like, hey, like, look, you know, I'm looking for a situation, da-da-da. And that's basically, so I say all that to say is that I remember sneaking into a party at Capitol. This is when Katy Perry was piping hot. And EMI at the time was having a party at Capitol for Katy Perry. They built a whole, like a amusement park in the parking lot and everything. And I remember sneaking in the party. And then I remember when I had that interview, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. No, matter of fact, it was when I got my office. And I'm like, yo, I remember sneaking in this building. And then now, like, I have my own office in here. Like, you know what I mean? So I felt like that was a moment for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was more of a sentimental thing because I remember sneaking in that joint and just looking like, wow, like, yo, I'm in this Katy Perry party. Like, you know what I mean? And then years later, actually, you know, having an office in that building. So that was a moment for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a high. That's a manifestation high.
Yeah, definitely.
So as while we on the highs, I want to know what's been your 3 most rewarding hip hop moments thus far for you.
My rewarding hip hop moments? Like, what you mean? But like rewarding?
You know, whether it's been in the studio when a certain record got made and you were in there and put in that, you know, that
okay.
There, or you know, you was a part of a big signing that wave transitioned the way how things are done moving forward. Because you know, there's just so many different things you've been a part of. So I'm like, what have been some of your
I gotta
moments
think about? Like I remember when I was working with JD, and he had this songwriter named Cristal, and like, yo, Cristal, amazing songwriter, dope, right? And watching her like go from just dope songwriter to the songwriter. So I remember when that Rihanna record, Only Girl in the World, came out. Like, that was amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she did that. I mean, she went on to do Touch My Body and all these other records with Mariah. So that was a moment. Then I think the next one would probably be me bothering No ID, right? Because he didn't like, at the time, he didn't like to give out beat CDs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was one of those producers back then where he was like, yo, let me get in with the artist. So I kept bugging him like, yo, bro, how you expect me to manage you? You're not giving me nothing to, you know, get out there. So he like, yo, just get me in with the artist. So I'm like, yo, some of these artists don't even know who you are, right? So I'm like, bro, just give me some beats. So he's like, all right. So he went in his old laptop and gave me like a batch of like some old beats. And at the time, I had a relationship with Aaron Bayshuk, who is the head of Warner Brothers now, and I ended up giving him a beat CD, and that beat CD ended up becoming a Plies single. You know what I'm saying? So just hearing like the Plies single, it was a record called "Put It On You." And most people don't even know No ID produced a Plies record, like, you know what I mean, which was a radio record. So that was a moment, and I would say you said 3, right?
Yes, sir. One more. Bring it home.
And the third one would probably be I'm trying to think. What's happened lately? Man, there's so many damn moments, bro.
Yeah, something lately, something, you know, with 10K projects or.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, like, bro, like with Elliot, bro, like Elliot, it was like a young go-getter, bro, that, like, you know, he was just trying to figure this shit out, bro. And I watched him, you know, sign Trippie, you know what I mean? And Trippie, you know, was popping. This is the SoundCloud era, so Trippie was popping at the time, bro. And, yeah. And what's crazy is Trippie introduced him to 6ix9ine. So Trippie was like, yo, is this kid named 6ix9ine, da-da-da, you know what I mean? And watching the late, so before Trippie, there was an artist he had signed through Virgin, and that situation didn't work out. And then he did Trippie at Caroline, and then Trippie ended up introducing him to 6ix9ine, and you know, Trippie and 6ix9ine, they ended up getting into beef, and then that whole thing basically kind of spawned the whole, like, both of their careers, basically them beefing with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like 6ix9ine went and did what he did. Trippie, you know, put out hits and, you know, and basically just changed the face. But what was dope about Elliot, bro, is that from there, like, he went on to sign like pop acts like the Ian Dior Kid, who's featured on the Mood record with 24K Golden, and has gold and platinum records. He went on to do the Internet Money, who Ian is signed to, and like they have one of the biggest records in the country right now.
Hey.
He got this pop group named Surfaces. Like, I'm watching him just like kill it, like you know what I mean. But like early on, yeah, bro, like it was just like, you know, just trying to figure out the hip hop space, and yo, he figured it out, bro. Extremely smart, inspiring. Like, I'm inspired by him. I really am. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I would say that would probably be the third one, like seeing his success. Sure. Yeah, you know, being part of it, like, you know what I'm saying, and being at the company that, you know, distributes and markets a lot of his acts, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a pause on the entertainment questions. I got 2 segments. My first segment is my awareness segment. Like I said earlier, knowledge is power, but when you use that knowledge, it's a superpower. And you know, one thing that a lot of people are dealing with right now is just the situation of interacting with the police. You know, I like to ask every guest of mine, when was the last time they were pulled over, and what's some advice they can give in the situation of interacting with the police to, you know, get out of it quickly and safely.
Yo, so I think the last time I pulled over, I was on a cell phone out here on the 101, and I got pulled over. It was a female cop, and she, I don't know if it's because I haven't had a lot of dealings with female cops, but she was like extra, like she just came at me like mad, like, why are you on your cell phone? Like, you know what I mean? And I didn't respond. I was so calm that the way I responded back to her, that it actually brought her down. You get what I'm saying? And like, you know, but she came aggressive, like, you know what I'm saying? And it was because I was on my cell phone, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, had my seatbelt on. So basically, I think with interacting, just like prepare yourself, like, you know, if, you know, you got like your license in your wallet, just pull it out. You know, they're going to ask you for this stuff. Just put it in your visor. Like, you get what I'm saying? And just like, so that way they're not scared that you're reaching for something or whatever. And just, I guess, kind of make them feel as comfortable as possible, because you're like, you know, you just don't want no mishaps of them saying like, you know, oh, I thought he's reaching for something or whatever. So that's what I would say. And yo, bro, just let them have it, bro. Like when they coming with that aggressive energy, don't try to fight back. Like, yo, my tax-paying dollars is what's paying you. And like, we know that. Like I said, like with her, when she came at me aggressive, I just responded calm, like, you know, and it just brought her down. You know what I'm saying? And she ended up, you know, giving me, I think, a warning. Like, I don't think she gave me, you know what I'm saying? But I think it was because of the way I responded. I was just like, hey, like, you know, sorry. Like, somebody called me, I picked up. You called me when I picked up. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she ended up just giving me a warning. So, so that's what I would say. Just, you know, be as calm as possible. And, you know, but sometimes some guys, they just, you know, super aggressive and they don't like you, whatever, because skin color, whatever it is. But just try your best to be as calm as possible, you know what I'm saying, and just control your emotions.
You get through it as quickly as possible and limit your movements.
Yeah.
And thank you for, you know, being a testimony and you know, sharing the light on, you know, how we can continue to raise awareness and move forward all together on how we deal with them.
Yeah.
So I got my next segment. It's called Impulse Q&A. I got impulse questions I wrote down earlier, and I want your impulse answer. You don't like the question, it's all good. Say pass, and you still got to answer 3 questions. Question number 1. What is one thing you do daily that you wish was automated?
Hold on, say it again. I missed the last part.
What is one thing you do daily that you wish was automated?
Working out.
That's easy. Question number 2. What is one of the funniest things you see happen in the studio?
Somebody get knocked out.
Question number 3. You're trapped in the elevator. What album are you listening to get you through it?
Michael Jackson, Thriller.
You know what? I'm gonna throw in a bonus question just because you ran through this so quickly and easy. What's one thing you recommend people got to try when they go to Queens, New York? What's the food that they have to try?
A beef patty from there's a spot called 165 in Jamaica Avenue. There's a Jamaican restaurant there that's like extremely popular. So I would say like a beef patty from there, like with cocoa bread. Yeah.
Well, Serge, brother, you survived my awareness segment. You survived my in-post Q&A. You know, as a reward, let's promote. Let's get people to tune in and turn up whatever you working on or you want them to pay attention to. Shout outs, whatever you want, brother.
Yeah. Y'all actually got I got this this clothing line that I like during quarantine. I was just like, yo, like this year, because I think I was on Netflix and I was watching Surviving R. Kelly, right? And I was like, yo, this 2020 was something else. And I came up with this clothing line called Crisis, spelled Krysis. And like the first collection is called Surviving 2020, right? And I released it, and it's done really well, man. Like a lot of people, because people can relate, like, surviving 2020 is a real thing, you know what I'm saying? So I would say, check that out. Crisis Online, like the website is Crisis Online, Krysis online.com, and check it out. Like some dope pieces on there. And like I said, follow me on Instagram, Hollywood Serge. Not really on Twitter as much. Like only time I probably ever tweet is when I probably post something on my Instagram and it gets posted on my Twitter. So I'll say the best way to reach me is at Hollywood Serge _SERGE. And yeah, man, I'm active. I'm reachable. Like obviously, we connected through there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, just crisisonline.com and check out the collection, Surviving 2020. And if you have any questions or whatever, hit me up on the gram, Hollywood Serge.
Absolutely. Tap in with Hollywood Serge. I ain't gonna lie, that's the way how I got to this brother. So sky's the limit if you're trying to get access.
Yeah. And you know what's dope though, bro? Like it's the way you came at me, right? Like a lot of people are just come, hey, just check out my music. And it's just like, there's nothing there. Like, you know what I mean? So like I said, like when I first started, I was talking about the music business, right? So if I'm an A&R and I'm someone that works on the business side of the music business, right? Almost look at this like Shark Tank, right? Like, and when you look at the show Shark Tank, people are presenting their product, and that's how you have to present your music, right? Because what's usually the first question after they present their product? What's usually the first question the sharks ask the people presenting their product?
It's about the return. What's the sale?
Right. Exactly. So knowing that, like, that's how, as an artist, if you're reaching out to an A&R or whatever, like, that's how you should present yourself. Like, hey, like I just released a song, such and such. The song is doing X amount of streams per week. It's growing. I might have released it a month ago, and since then it's grown. Like that's how you should present it. Like to make someone, rather than just here's a link, check out my music. Like it's just like nothing there. Like, you know what I mean? But the reason I'll say that is the way you came at me. You were just like, hey, look, like I have this show. I'd love to. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, okay, dope. Because I see all the messages. You get what I'm saying? But if someone just was like, hey, check out my music, it's just like, dude, like, you know how many of those I get? Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's all about the approach. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you dropping real gems right now. You telling them how to approach somebody. That's big, because a lot of people simply don't know that.
Yeah.
You grow up in a certain way, and how everybody get at each other is the same way, not knowing that you have to transition yourself to, present yourself.
Absolutely, bro. It has to be something there, like, and I learned that just from networking, bro. Because like when I was an aspiring like A&R, right, and I didn't have the A&R job yet, like I had to learn when I did meet an A&R, you had to have like your because they're on the move, like, you know what I'm saying. So you gotta be able to say what you need to say really quick. So it's the same with like when you're DMing somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like what, outside of check out my music, like what's the first things, like what is interesting about why they should check out your music? Like, you get what I'm saying? So you should be able to put that in the first 3 sentences of like why they should check out your music. Like I said, and obviously it is a, you know, and even if it may not be like a lot of streams, but what is actually happening with it? Because if you leaving it to us to just go check out your music and then do research on it, it's kind of like, no, bro, like tell us exactly what it is. You have the analytics to your own music. Let us know what's happening with it. So that way, when we read the message, it's like, hey, I'm doing 20K streams a week, da-da-da, it's growing right now, da-da-da. And that'll catch somebody's eye. Oh, okay, let me check this out. Listen to it. Okay, all right, I'll keep an eye on this. You get what I'm saying?
Facts. Facts. Now, third, you know, my show is different. It's unique. I got segments because they said I had to have segments, but I don't do segments like them. And I'm like, how do I keep that same energy and close out? The viewer knows it's coming. I'm going to hit you with it.
Yeah.
Got any questions for me?
Let me see. I'm trying to think. Like, what's your take on the music business right now and where it's at?
The music business, I love it because right now we're back in a time where people are able to get advances at a decent rate. It's no longer that heavy approach of 360 deals. And then at the same time, people are getting more knowledge to how they can hold more rights to their masters, and as well as, you know, points on the record and how they're moving. Like, you know, because the open market of this new wave of technology allowed everyone to make distribution, which was the hardest thing in the earlier ages to get, versus now it's so accessible that it allows people to really put out their own stuff and you know, grow. You know, we're in a show and prove era. And you have said that countless times on here, and it's true. You know, you have to be able to put something out there and show the world that they receive it, and then prove it that there's some value to it. Because if there's no market value to it, there's gonna be no value to anyone making any money. And you know, there's labels that are giving out money right now, and you know, that's a blessing because it's putting back that, you know, American dream of doing something with what you feel in your mind, what you feel you're capable of doing. That's your gift, and people are getting those opportunities again. And it's a blessing because, you know, back in the day, we both know it was a limited amount of people that was coming out, or this songwriter has a great voice would have to give this up. And, you know, we can go into the all horrible backstories, but right now the current state is looking real positive. It's looking, you know, the growth is amazing. I love the fact that, you know, TikTok and making popular music is now, you know, rap music is at that same rock level of, you know, in the 70s and 80s. And so it's just a lot to be proud of during this time.
For sure. I agree, man. I agree. So yeah, that's all I got for you, man.
Nah, I appreciate the question, man. It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 4, episode 6. Man, big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. I wouldn't be able to do an incredibly dope shit like interview Serge Durand and talk about his history and just growing. And this brother dropped so many gems that you can cut this up and just feed yourself knowledge for like an hour straight. So thank you, brother, for coming on here and just being transparent. Blessings, man. Blessings.
Man, I appreciate it, bro. Yo, what's going on? It's Serge Durand reporting live from Contracts Uncut. My man Zylo. Shout out to Uncle Snoop and Bobby D. Checking in, dropping gems. Take some time to listen. Holla back.
My nigga, this ain't what you want. Can I kick it when I'm rhyming? Be a legend through Ebonics. Was a sticker boy. Felt like sticky.
Right there you go. Another episode of Contrast Uncut. Make sure if you enjoyed it, you leave a comment below. You hit some like buttons. You hit some subscribe. You go ahead and hit share if you want to. Say something nice or say something you don't want to say at all. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Comment below.